Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No pain for their disease. Breathe your fire, go wings, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness. Make true of an empty promise. Flip cards into weak and harmless. Take to the streets and turn them to a mosh pit. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.
This episode of What's Shaking Titans is powered by Bailey's Barbecue. Bailey's Barbecue, smoking good barbecue.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into What's Shaking Titans. I'm your host, Gary Bailey, and joining me right over here are your co-hosts, Mason Hollingsworth and April Bailey. So real quick, guys, we just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning in to What's Shaking Titans. As always, if you're not yet following us on all of our different social media platforms, go ahead and give us a follow. We're on Facebook, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, all the platforms. Go give us a follow. Guys, do y'all have anything you want to say before we get jumped into today's episode?
Tomorrow is the day! Tighten up, day! Woo!
Tighten up! Alright, guys, so we got a jam-packed episode for y'all here today. We're going to kick today out with, we're going to talk about the new Titans staffing members. So we're going to throw this one over to our co-host April and let her kind of talk about some of the new additions to the Titans staff that we have.
Yeah, so there's a lot of new staff that actually didn't make mainstream media, and they're really big additions to the Titans because they are first in history. So we have 3 women who have been added to our coaching staff. The very first one that made Titan history was Miss Lori Locust, and she came to us from Tampa Bay. She is our defensive quality control coach. So what she does for those of you who don't really know the analytics behind football, it's really easy to get caught up in just watching the players go out there and, this is what they're supposed to be doing. But what she does is she studies the film from the offensive side of the ball for the other team. She gets our defense together. She finds the best personnel, the best 3-4, 4-3, dime, nickel, and decides what's going to be best for us that game. She has a Super Bowl underneath her belt, which is amazing. And she's worked with some really great people. So I was really excited to have her on. I can't believe she hasn't made more of a, social media or any media really hot topic to have her. And she's going to be on the sideline. She's going to be working closely with, Jim Schwartz and some really good legends. And so I can't wait to see, what she comes up with for all of our games. And so that's really exciting. It's something that I'm going to be watching. Also, this week, nobody talked about it. There was just an article that came out on it about maybe 22 minutes ago. And it was from, I think it was Tighten Up Network or something. No, not Tighten Up Network. I'm sorry. It was like Titan Wire is what it was. And it was Haley Roberts. She is the second female coach to be on our staff, a full-time coach. She was promoted this week. She's our strengthening coach. So she is going to be the reason why our injuries are limited this year, hopefully. She is going to be the one getting our players ready to play each week, coming up with a game plan to how to take care of their bodies, things like that. So that she's going to be really good to watch. And then we have Sarah Bailey. And what Sarah does is Sarah's really smart, okay? Sarah comes from the Rams. She also has a Super Bowl ring. So we have 2 staff members with Super Bowl rings, and they're both women. Really excited about that. And what she's going to do, so everybody knows that we have a new playbook. But what they don't know is who comes up with the plays. That's Sarah's job. So she's mathematically inclined. So she's the woman behind the X's and O's. She really studies our team, what they can do, and where they should go. And so I'm really excited to have Sarah on. She has done an amazing job for the Rams, and I can't wait to see what she does for the Titans.
Yeah, and I really think it's an awesome thing that we're seeing a lot more, female coaches in the NFL. I think that's a really big thing, especially for the day and age that we live in. That we don't show that it's just a man's thing, because it's not. Women can do the same thing. They can get out there and they can coach guys up just as well as a male head coach. So I think it's a really awesome thing that we have these new additions to our staff, and hopefully like April was saying, this will help us limit our injuries and just kind of be a little bit better than what we were last year at certain areas. But yeah, so real quick, guys, we got Noah Searcy, our co-host, in the comments. He said, I'm here. So want to give a quick shout out to Noah. We actually have a segment with him later on where he's on call. So we'll get to that later on in the episode. But go ahead, April. Go ahead and say what you were saying.
We also added a woman scout. So she's going to be scouting out our talent. And so that's going to be really exciting to see from a woman's perspective as well, the talent that she comes up with. So you're looking at drafts. You're looking at, who's available for, she's going to be working really closely with Rand to see who's available for our trade, for agency, things like that.
Yeah, so that's I think that this direction that the Titans are heading down is really awesome, and not only with what Mike Vrabel is doing with the new additions of all these women on our staff, but you also look at tomorrow's game and Terrell being as active head coach for a game, so people can get to see him and he can get an opportunity to maybe one day go on to be a head coach somewhere else. But with that being said, before we go any further and you answer that, April, we're talking about women. So I think this would be a great time to kind of plug plug our new project in that we just started and launched today. So if you want to kind of talk on that for a second, real quick.
Yeah, so today we kind of highlighted and launched my all women's sports podcast. And so I'm really excited about that. We will be highlighting and speaking about the women around the NFL, but we'll also be really highlighting and speaking about the women here with the Titans. But it won't be just about the women. We'll talk about, everybody in general and give our perspectives on what's going on in the NFL, what's going on with the Titans. And I'm really excited to have some co-hosts on there. Haley and I, from Bryce's, from Haley and Bryce have talked about maybe getting together and doing some things. So it's going to be really excited. I'm not sure yet when the first episode will launch, because we've got to get everything situated in that and the dates that, I'm going to have available. But I'm really excited to get that going. You can like us and subscribe to us on all the same platforms as you see here as well. So.
And real quick, April, do you want to drop the name of your podcast real fast?
Yeah, it's What's Still Shaking Ladies. So it's really, that way we still get to be related with What's Shaking Titans and being the co-founder of that. But it's also kind of lets us have our own. So it's What's Still Shaking Ladies. So go ahead and look us up on all the major platforms. And I'm really excited to be a part of it and be the host of that.
Definitely. And then Mason, let's get to you real quick, buddy. What is your thoughts on Terrell Williams, if I'm saying his name right, Terrell Williams getting to be active head coach on Saturday during the Bears preseason game?
Oh, I mean, it's definitely surprising to hear about that, but I think it's great in case, like, Vrabel for some reason won't be able to be there. It's always nice to have someone that has experience coaching somewhere, like, game time ready if needed. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I think a lot of Titans fans were kind of caught off guard. I know me and my sister were, and we're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, is everything okay with Mike Vrabel? But after we did, further digging into what Mike Vrabel was saying and what was really going on, it's nothing to worry about. It's just simply Mike Vrabel trying to start a new trend in the NFL. And, Terrell Williams has been with us for a while, and he's definitely earned this opportunity to get out there and not only show what he has, what he's capable of as a head coach, but also kind of show, just who he is as a person, the connections he can have and develop with players, while also having the opportunity to get some live game experience as a head coach where, otherwise he wouldn't have that opportunity. So I think it's something that is really ingenious by Mike Vrabel. And, I'm just a really big fan of what Mike Vrabel's doing and going in this direction. I just think it's something that the NFL has needed for a while. But April, do you have anything you would like to kind of add in on that?
I'm excited to see what kind of game he calls. I think that it's really smart and really generous of Mike Vrabel to give up, kind of just a little bit of his controlling ability and be able to share that to kind of showcase someone else. I think that speaks a lot for the type of coach that we have.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel, he has his hand in on a lot of different things when it comes to the NFL. And, I think it's just really, it's really cool to see, his level of dedication, not only to our team, but to every single player out there. He has a big role in the NFL committee, where he, if I'm saying that right, April, correct me if I'm wrong. But where, he gets to go in there and he helps them come up with new rules and stuff that is, for the safety of players. So, this goes to show
He also gets to clarify rules. What's a catch? Things like that. And, he works directly with on that board, he'll work directly with the
officiating.
The officiating and the refs to kind of help them understand exactly what that they should be looking for and doing as well. If you see him on the sideline and he's angry about a call, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, But I think it's just really awesome to have a head coach that is like that in tune to the game, and not only just for his team, but for every single player out there. It's really awesome to see, and I think that what we have here in Tennessee is something special. When it comes to our head coach and now new GM. But guys, with all that being said, let's talk about last year's defense. We're going to break down last year's defense. We're going to start from the defensive front and work our way all the way back to the secondary. And, Mason, what's one thing that you felt, stood out to you last year about the Titans defense, either in a negative way or in a positive way, or both, if you want to answer that?
Well, I think that even when we were missing some of our most important people, we still were able to play well as a team and still play as if we still had them. And we were some of the best defenses last year, so I really think we did well even without some of the pieces. So
Um, the good thing is our front four stayed solid no matter who we played. We had depth. We could run them in and out, and it was literally the next man up. We had 98 people on our active roster, and a lot of them had to fill in on the defense as well, and the defense didn't skip a beat. However, we were easily beat over the top. Our corners, our safeties, Kevin Byard needed help back there. And so that's what I'm going to be looking for. Kind of this first preseason, all through the preseason, just to kind of see if we kind of fill those roles, see how Christian Fulton comes back, see how he comes in and does well, and just see if we can, get some help over the top. Because I think if we do that, we're going to be like a shutdown defense. We're going to be really tough to beat. Our defense is going to be really hard to beat if we could fill those gaps. Yeah.
My mic was muted, so I do apologize. Shout out to Noah. Oh, anyway, so yeah, basically, guys, what I was saying is, our defensive front was solid for us last year. It was solid as it could be. We didn't have a lot of depth on our defensive line, as in like big name depth, but they were able to keep us in the majority of games. And then our secondary, just like our co-host said, April and Mason, they were able to throw it over our heads, a lot. And Kevin Byard was basically on the island by himself. And then, Christian Fulton and Caleb Farley, they both went down with injuries. And Elijah Molden, he got injured. And, there was just really no one there to help solidify that secondary and to keep the opponent's offense from throwing it over our heads. So, that we really struggled in our secondary last year, but somehow, the Titans defense was able to manage to keep us in most of the games. So with that being said, guys, is there anything else y'all want to kind of mention, or anybody in particular y'all want to talk about from last year's defense before we go and start breaking down this year's defense? And we'll throw it to April.
Pretty much. I think that pretty much covers it. Of course, it's always going to be good to see Big Jeff back in action. Amani Hooker,
Harold Landry.
I'm really excited to see him. So many people forget about him, but he's such a good talent. So
yeah. And Mason, how about you? Is there anybody you feel like we haven't kind of mentioned or talked about yet from last year's team?
I think Roger McCreary is going to have a great year this year. I think he's going to break out.
So, with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about, this year's defensive front. So we got Big Jeff, and we got the return of Harold Landry. Basically we have the same people we did last year. A couple new additions. Let's see. We have the guy from Jacksonville, Arden Keith. So I really feel like with just the additions that we added through free agency, we really spiced up our defense a lot from what it was last year, and we already had a solid defense outside of the secondary. And, that was also something they addressed. We'll just have to kind of wait and see how the secondary plays out. But, I think that this defensive front with Landry back and Big Jeff and Arden Keith, I think that it could be something that is really awesome. And, I really feel that we have the potential to be a top three defense in the NFL this year. What are your thoughts on that? We'll go to Mason.
Well, like Harry's saying, Harold Landry coming back on an already good defense. He gets a lot of sacks a game, so I just think adding him back is a big help, and adding Arden Key, that already looks super great in practice, is awesome, and it's just going to be exciting. And I do think they're going to be a top 3 defense this year.
Definitely. April, how about you? Is there anybody you want to talk about this year's team?
I definitely wanted to address Arden Key. I think that I'm excited to see him. I hope that he gets to play during preseason just so we can kind of get a taste of what he's going to be like. And then Harold Landry. I think he's so underrated. A lot of people don't talk about him, or they kind of forget that we have him. And I feel like him and Big Jeff are big keys to this defense. And so having him, come back, and Christian Fulton, I feel like there's some pieces that we were missing last year, or maybe were hurt last year, that we didn't have enough depth for, that I think that we've got this year. And I definitely think we could be a top 3 defense. I think we could be definitely number 1 in the AFC defense.
Yeah, we have a few, like you said, I think Arden Keith is going to be something that is going to be really interesting to see how he kind of pairs with, everybody else that we have out there on our defense. And, if they pair right, this defensive front could be, really, like I said, top end. And then, our secondary, as long as the secondary, continues to play as well, I shouldn't say continues to play, but improve their play from last year, I think it'd be, the Titans defense are really set up for success. Let's see, April, is there any, is Tier Tart still with us, or did we let him go?
I think we do have Tier Tart. I want to say I've seen him. I didn't see him on the depth chart, though. So, he may have been one that slipped away, but I thought we had him. I want to say if nothing else to the practice squad.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, guys. I know I look kind of distracted right now, but I'm actually pulling up the unofficial depth chart right now, just so we can kind of go over a few more people here. So while I do that, April, do you want to talk about I guess just the combination between Big Jeff and Harold Landry and what that could do to, kind of strengthen this defense, having Landry, kind of back in the mix up with him?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the history of the Titans, anytime the Titans have gone anywhere, we've had the top 5 defense. And anytime we've had a top 5 defense, we've always had a duo right there in the front. We've had Albert Hainsworth and the Freak. We've had, there was number 99. What was his name? Anyways, that's why Jacob became number
Rashad
99.
Reaver.
Well, now it's Rashad Reaver, but I'm talking about before Rashad.
Oh, Jarrell Casey.
Jarrell Casey. How could I forget Casey?
Come
oh
on,
He's
man.
gonna be so mad at me. I already know he's gonna be like, "Why did you forget my name?"
Oh, that's bad. That's really bad.
That is bad. Oh my gosh. And I love Jarrell Casey, and that's the reason why my son is actually number 99 on his defense right now. But Jarrell Casey, he was always the big one right there up front with Brian Arakpo,
Mhm.
Arakpo. And so I feel like those two could really be a duo like those and really get us, in depth into the preseason or the postseason.
Yeah, and we got also we got Alzir Al-Sierre, blah, and Gibbons, Jack Gibbons. I think Gibbons has actually really improved a lot. And yeah, okay, so Titan Upload Network, want to give a huge shout out to the Titan Upload Network, who says Teair Tart is still with the team. So he actually signed a $4.3 million contract, tenured. So yeah, but I've also heard that Gibbons has had a really productive training camp. So that's going to be something really interesting to see. Is Sierre Gibbons and Harold Landry, kind of the linebackers of the team, and just to see what they're capable of doing, this year. What is your thoughts on Gibbons? We'll shoot it over to Mason.
I do think there's a big chance of him being really good for us this year, but this is why it's going to be great to see him in the preseason, to see, we've seen him in practice. Let's see what he can do against in a real game situation, and that's going to be really fun to see.
Yeah, I think just to see the Titans back on the field, period, is going to be awesome. I'm so stoked for tomorrow's game. My wife's going to be out working, and I was just like, oh, no, like, it's the first game. She's like, it's just preseason. I don't care. It's the first game. But, yeah, it's going to be really awesome to see. And I'm not sure if they've released the list of, the people who's going to be starting for us, but I do know that we should have a few starters playing, in tomorrow evening's game. But also let's highlight some of the backups to our starters. So we got Rashad Reaver, Chance Campbell, and we also got Sam Okonowo, or however you say that. I'm so bad with pronouncing names. Guys, don't shoot me in the comments. But we definitely I feel like Weaver has a lot, in my opinion, to kind of show us, this year. Because I think, we all had such high expectations of Rashad Weaver. And, I just feel like he hasn't really kind of came out and showed us what he's really capable of yet. What is y'all's thoughts on that? April, what is your thoughts?
I actually actually love Rashad Reaver. I feel like he started strong last year in the preseason, but he just didn't get enough rotation for us to really see him. Of course, there was a few missed tackles and stuff, but those are the things that you learn from. I'll tell you one that I've watched him just develop, and every year he gets better and better and better, and that's David Long Jr. And every time he hits the field, I love seeing him. And him and Ball, when they get on the field, are they're really good. But, there are a few that rotate in and out. So, but I'm excited to see how Weaver does. And just, I hope that he shows us the potential that he has.
Definitely. And then we want to go to our comments real quick. This is a pretty funny one here, guys. So Parker BG says, I have no idea how or when I subscribed to this channel. Your notifications just showed up randomly, rolling on the floor laughing. So, hey, I mean, either way, man, we thank you for being a part of the What's Shaking Titans group here and commenting on the video. We definitely appreciate that. Definitely go on all of our other social media platforms. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or, well, you can't call it, I guess you can't call it Twitter. It's called X now. So whatever it's called, Instagram and Spotify, we're on all those platforms. Just go over there, give us a follow. We put out a bunch of different content, across all the different media platforms. So, we really like to kind of bring as much content as we can, and, just trying to entertain and inform people. But with all that being said, guys, so we kind of broke down the defensive front. Real quick, let us know in the comments if there's anybody in particular we haven't talked about that you want us to talk about. Just throw them out in the comments, and we'll just keep it going here. And then Parker said, he said, I must admit I'm from Kansas City, so I'm a Chiefs fan, but I'll say the Titans always scare us. Hey, man, look, the Chiefs always scares us, so it's a 50-50 thing there, buddy. But y'all do have one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the last two generations, in my opinion. Patrick Mahomes is really wicked, so a little bitter that y'all got Patrick Mahomes, but hey, y'all got a great, solid offense, and I really do love watching our games with the Kansas City Chiefs because it's always down to the wire, and it's just it's really good football to watch. But with that being said, guys, we're going to hop on over to our secondary. So, Mason, what is your thoughts about the secondary and some of the new people we've added throughout the offseason?
Well, compared to last year, I feel like anything can help. We just did not do that well last year, and just seeing on practice this year, it looks like we're starting to understand how to work better as a team. During interceptions, they're tipping it to other defensive players, so working well with that, and that was a big need for last year, so it seems like we're improving on that level.
Yeah, definitely. I think we have a lot of new, not a lot of new, but we have a few new pieces in our secondary, and I was actually about to mention it, but let's go ahead and bring up this comment from the Power Hour from Michael Bishop, and he says, Sean Murphy-Bunting is a major sleeper player. Keep an eye on him. And yeah, I agree 100% with that. He's definitely going to be a sleeper for the Tennessee Titans this year. I think he's going to play a big role in the production of our secondary and help elevating them, beyond what we were last year. I think it's going to be a lot harder for offenses to throw the ball over our heads now. I know that, I think it was a couple days ago, Tannehill was struggling, during 7-on-7s and actually threw a couple interceptions. And so, I feel like they're kind of starting to gel together. They're learning each other's timing. I think it's going to be really interesting just to kind of see what they're capable of, together as a solid unit. But also, the one thing I want to kind of, note is that Kevin Byard is no longer on that island by himself. We got Christian Fulton, who's showing tremendous growth from last year to this year. Then Sean Murphy-Bunting, is actually kind of, getting out there and showing us what he's capable of. And then, we also got Amani Hooker, who I feel like is pretty decent, safety for us. So, April, what is your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, it's been really exciting to watch Amani and his growth throughout, the last few seasons. So I'm really excited to see just that trend continue with him because I really feel like he could be on a Bayard level at some point. Not that he is now. Calm down, everybody. But I feel like he could grow there. I do see him improving in leaps and bounds. And then, Christian Fulton, just to kind of see our expectations come to fruition and come to real life. For him, I'm excited to see, and definitely for Kevin to be able to take some of that load off and be able to enjoy the season instead of worried about what balls are going to go over his head and things like that. It's going to be really exciting to be able to have Kevin Byard be able to let loose.
Yeah, I'm really excited because the last time we had someone solid playing with KB, KB was able to get, I think it was a total of maybe like 5 or 6 picks in a single game, and it was just really awesome to see. So, let's talk about some of the backups to the starters there. We got Roger McCreary, Amani Marsh, if I'm saying that right. We got Elijah Molden, Taquise Jones, and Mike Brown. What is y'all's thoughts on any of those particular players? I know, Mason, you mentioned Roger McCreary, I believe, earlier. So you want to kind of elaborate on that a little bit more?
Well, just seeing how he did last year, I would say that he's showing a lot of potential. I think either this year or next year, he could have a really, really, really great season and prove to everyone like you can't just throw it over all the Titans' heads and just think that you're always going to be able to get right past us. I think we're going to be better in tighter coverage. I think we're going to be a lot better, especially where Roger McCreary is. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, and I also forgot to mention Trey Avery and Anthony Kendall, kind of in that second stream row according to the unofficial depth chart here. April, is there anything you want to kind of elaborate on Trey Avery?
I don't really know much about Trey, but I was going to elaborate on Jones because he's another one that I've liked to watch grow over the last few seasons that we've had him. My son and I, Jaden, when we watch the games, we'll call him the other Jones because, Ben Jones was our first. But we called him the other Jones, and we absolutely loved it. He would light up. He would really just put a spark in that defense when they had to trade in and out. And so I'm going to be excited again to see his progress and, hopefully be able to see him on that secondary as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see, ultimately who's going to fall in that second, in that backup spot behind, Christian Fulton there. Whether it's Anthony Kendall, Trey Avery, it's going to be really interesting to see. So, guys, it's time for me to eat a piece of humble pie here. So I'm going to do it. But before I eat that piece of humble pie, I want to give a plug real quick to the Power Hour. So the Power Hour, I will be going on the Power Hour show on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central Time. The Power Hour will be hosting What's Shaking Titans. So we're really looking forward to all that. We got a little clip, little promo clip that we'll share later on in the video with that. But just want to kind of throw that plug in there real quick. But with that being said, it's time for some humble pie, guys. So when we drafted Caleb Farley, you can go back and you can watch the podcast from last year. And you could see, I was really, really big on Caleb Farley. I thought that Caleb Farley, would definitely solidify himself as, a solid cornerback for us. But, then we got to actually see, real life happen. And we seen him struggle out there on the field. He definitely has his speed, but we seen him struggling on the field. And then, the injury bug kind of crept back up and kept hitting him. So, I want to kind of eat a piece of my own humble pie there. So of course, I had that wrong. But what is y'all's thoughts on Caleb Farley? And do y'all think that, there's a chance that he might be able to resurrect what's, left of his career here with the Tennessee Titans? What's your thoughts, Mason?
I think it's definitely just super sad to see that we haven't gotten a full potential season with him. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's been injured basically every single season. And, you really see him want to be out there and prove himself, but he just keeps getting injured, and it's just hopefully this year we could see a full year and maybe show how he can prove everyone wrong.
Definitely. April, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Mason. It's really sad that we didn't get to see him, do what we had drafted him to do. But with that, I think you need to say, April, you were right. No, I'm just kidding. We clashed a lot. And it's not really an argument. It's more of a banter because I look at things from a business point of view. He looks at things from a passionate play point of view. And so sometimes it seems like our opinions clash sometimes. But when, we're right on both ends, it's business and they're really good, then, I mean, the players are through the roof, like Derrick Henry, things like that. But on a business side, from the beginning, and this is what we kind of clashed a little bit about, I thought it was a bad idea from the beginning to draft Caleb. He hadn't played in over 2 seasons when we drafted him. And then, he chose to sit out 2020 due to COVID. And then, so 2021, when he was coming up, I was like, I wouldn't put all my eggs in one bucket. And so it's sad. It's sad to say he's already this year, starting off the year, on the PUP list. So my hopes aren't getting any bigger for him. So I just hope that he rides out his contract and we're able to kind of eat this one and move on.
Yeah. That, like I said, got to eat a big piece of humble pie there. But I really, if we can get him back healthy, I would like to see if there's been any growth. But kind of coming into training camp and stuff before we found out that he was put on the PUP list, I really, and I mean really thought that Caleb Farley, this is going to be that time for him to get out there and prove to us why he's on this team, during preseason. And of course, for some mysterious reason, he's on PUP, whether that's still from the injury from last year or something new that occurred. I'm not 100% sure, but it's definitely, kind of concerning when it comes to that. And then I want to go to our comments real quick. It's not allowing me to bring these up, but I will read them. So, Parker BG says, where there's much talk in the offseason about Titans fans wanting to bench Tannehill and give Malik Willis his turn. So, I'll sit here and say this, Tannehill is the best option. And we kind of alluded to this last week. Right now, Tannehill is the best option for the Tennessee Titans. Although Malik Willis has shown a lot of growth and improvement throughout, training camp, and I just think that, with his experience, we also got to realize is that Tannehill has been one of the most consistent quarterbacks in the NFL, over the last, 4 to 5 years. And he's made it, to the playoffs. He's elevated us to the playoffs at least, 3 to 4 seasons that he's been with us. So, I think a lot of people are, kind of banking on Tannehill to kind of go down a decline. But if you ask me, I think Tannehill's actually going to, come out not only with glaring improvements, but I think he's gonna show Titans fans why, he is the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. And, as far as Malik Willis goes and Will Levis, they still need time, both of them, I like them both. I'm a really big Malik Willis fan, so I'm not going to kind of try and elaborate too much on that. I think that Will Levis is also really talented in his own rights, and if they ever make a movie about Ryan Tannehill, they're gonna hire Will Levis to play Ryan Tannehill because that's almost his lookalike there. So those are my opinions on that. But April and Mason, if y'all want to kind of allude to that real quick, go ahead, and then we're gonna go to a quick break after that, so I can kind of go and check on my daughter. She's fussing in the background, so we'll go ahead and throw it over to Mason and see what he has to say about Ryan Tannehill and stuff.
Well, I just think the things Titans fans are saying about Ryan Tannehill is just not really fair to him, especially just thinking the offensive line and stuff. They're not giving him a fair chance, and I think he's gonna be the full-time starter with most likely Malik Willis backing up this year, and I just think that I think he's gonna have a really good year, a really, really good year.
I agree. April, how about you?
I agree that Ryan is going to have a good year. I'll say the same thing about it that I said about it this time last year. If we have to see Malik Willis or Will Levis, it's going to be a really bad season, depending on where they're coming in at, and we don't want to see that as Titan fans this year. We kind of just want to see where this ball can take us. It's Tannehill's make it or break it year. It's his prove it or lose it year. So I think he's going to come out there, and I think he's going to give it all he's got. Do I think he's the best quarterback that the Titans will ever have? No. Do I think that he's the best that we've got right now? Yeah, I think we just need to get behind it and ride it.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of agree with you on most of all of that. Is right now he is definitely the best option for the Tennessee Titans, and I feel like if we get into a tight situation, and Tannehill goes down for a game or a half a game or something, I feel like we're in pretty okay hands. As long as we don't have to go like a big stretch of games without him, I think Malik Willis has definitely progressed enough to kind of fill those shoes for whether it's a whole game or half a game. And really honestly, we have to say the verdict is still out there. So tune into the Titans Bears game tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time to figure that out. And with that being said, guys, we're going to hop to a quick break real quick, and we'll be right back. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to What's Shaking Titans. As always, if you're not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notifications to get the latest from What's Shaking Titans, as well as give us a big like. That will help us out with the YouTube algorithm. That way more people get to see our video, and we'll pop up more often. With that being said, guys, we'll be right back.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal.
This episode of What's Shaking Titans is powered by Bailey's Barbecue. Smoking good barbecue.
crack. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks, aftermath, when I hate, I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to What's Shaking Titans. I'm your host, Gary Bailey, and joining me right over there are your co-hosts, Mason Hollingsworth and April Bailey. Guys, I do apologize for the quick break that we had to go on right there. My 6-month-old twins, they both had getting over COVID, so I'm having to kind of, juggle some things around and make sure that they're okay. So with all that being said, guys, we're back. We're ready to finish talking some Titan talk here with y'all. So when we left out of here, we were answering a question about, Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis and Will Levis. And I'm not sure. It kind of looked like maybe April had something she wanted to throw in there at the end. So I'm going to throw the floor back up to her and see if she has anything she kind of wants to, allude on, or if that was just me kind of seeing things.
No, I think I had pretty much said what I had to say about, we really just gotta, our best bet is Tannehill. Our best bet is Tannehill, and we'll just see how things develop, from there. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be nice to kind of see the backup quarterbacks in preseason, just to kind of see, where they're at and how they're developing. But, if we, like I said, if we have to see them in the regular season, it's not going to be good. It's either because Tannehill did so bad that he had to be benched, or he got hurt. Either way, one of those quarterbacks is going to be thrown in way before they should have had to been, just kind of like Malik was last year.
Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from on that. We seen Malik Willis get thrown in, way too soon last year. He wasn't ready. He was still trying to, learn how to be a vocal person, not only, during the game, but, at the building as well. But that, that one thing I can say is that, according to Mike Vrabel and, sources from inside, is that, Malik Willis is, he has that presence about him this year. So, that's going to be something really interesting to see if that translates into, the actual preseason games or not. So like I said, we'll have to tune in and see what happens tomorrow. All right, guys. So I think it was 2 days ago the Titans had released a new video of renderings of the new Titans Stadium. So real quick, we're gonna play a quick video for y'all, showing y'all the renderings and everything, and then we're gonna talk about the Tennessee Titans' new stadium and things that we feel like it needs to have, for this to be a really good stadium.
Very interesting season.
Tighten up.
Titan blood running through our veins. Get loud, put your hands up, let the whole world hear this sound. We rise like champions, let them know our time is now. So get loud and tighten up. Get loud, climbing up the road.
All right, guys. So there you have it. That is the new renderings of the Tennessee Titans' new stadium. In my opinion, I think it looks really, really sharp. But let's go ahead and bring in our co-hosts here so they can kind of give their opinions of it too. And real fast, just to let everybody know that video and pictures were brought to you by the Tennessee Titans. So you can go onto the Tennessee Titans website or app or Facebook page, Instagram page, Twitter page, and you can see that video in full length there. So, guys, welcome back in. What is your thoughts on the Titans' new stadium?
I'm definitely really excited to see how it is. I did hear that it does have some of the lower amount of seatings out of any stadium, so that is the only concern I really do see there. But I really do need to see a Super Bowl happen here. That's the only thing I really need to see.
Yeah, I think it's not. I think it's, if I'm correct, and y'all feel free to correct me in the comments, but I think it's only like 5,000 less seats than what we have currently. So I think that if that's what we have to sacrifice in order to get a high end stadium, I'm all for it. Of course that means that's going to drive the price of tickets up. But let's face it, it's been a while since, it's once in a blue moon that the Tennessee Titans actually sell out a game, and so lowering the seat number, I don't think is going to affect them financially or in any other way. And they're still eligible to have a Super Bowl even with the less seating. So, that's a good thing. April, what is your thoughts on it?
I like it. Okay, I guess. They could have, just put that money into the team, but no, I'm kidding. I like it. Okay, I would have loved to have seen a retractable roof, just so we could have more of that feel being outside. I know that there's spaces at the top, so it's still open air or whatever, but I just don't feel like it's the same. I think you're gonna get a lot of the arena feel in there, but it is what it is. It's a new stadium. It's coming. And, like Mason said, I really want to see a Super Bowl here. I don't care what we have to do to get it, but I want to see a Super Bowl here. So, it's not going to be, anytime soon, but it would be nice to have one.
Yeah, it'd definitely be nice to have a Super Bowl here. And, not only that, but, because I'm a big wrestling fan as well, we'll be getting WrestleMania for the first time here in Nashville. And, I think that this new stadium is so beneficial, not only for the Titans, but it's also going to be really beneficial for Nashville. Nashville has been the #1 tourist destination, in the world for the past 2 years, or well, not in the world, but in the United States for the past 2 years. And just having this stadium is going to maximize what they're capable of going out and doing, So now, instead of only being allowed to have 4 or 5 concerts a year because of the grass conditions and stuff, they're going to be able to go out there and, pack it year round, when Titans aren't playing and, in between our away games and stuff. So it's really going to be beneficial to the growth of Nashville. So I'm really excited for that as well.
And here's another interesting question kind of leading to that. So we know as Titan fans, when we have a home game, we see a lot more of the opposing team fans than we do home fans. And the reason why is because Nashville is such a tourist destination. So they're like, okay, I've wanted to see Nashville anyway. We're going to go see the game. We'll see our team play. We'll go out in Nashville and play. I think a lot of that is misconstrued. It's not that Tennessee doesn't have fans. We have fans and we're here. It's just that you see more of the opposing team fans just because Nashville is such a great place to visit, and more people come here. It's more convenient. It's more, in the price range. So I wonder how this new stadium, especially with there being less seats, is going to affect whether we see more home fans or more away fans, and affect how that is with the team.
So that's a great question there, April. And, I would say this, that, in the agreement that was made between the city of Nashville and the Tennessee Titans, basically what's going to happen is anybody who is outside of the state of Tennessee, they automatically, whether it's at a hotel or anything, they have to pay more So that they have a huge tax increase there. So I really I think that we might have a chance of seeing less away fans and more of the Titan fans. But you're right. One of the reasons we do see a lot of opposing teams fans is just because Nashville has been hot on the map. Like I said, for the last 2 years we've been the number one tourist destination. I mean, if you go downtown Nashville, it is party city, and who don't want to go out there and have a good time? I think that we will kind of start seeing a shift and the opposing fans and stuff, especially with the tax increase coming to anybody who's outside of the state of Tennessee. But I want to kind of throw it to the Power Hour real quick. He says not only the Super Bowl, but you will see WrestleMania, the Final Four, college football playoffs, the SEC championships, and more. So yeah, this is going to widen the things that we are capable of doing, at our stadium, where Nissan Stadium isn't fit to host all these things, because we have terrible ground conditions 90% of the year, it seems like, because we're the most bipolar place in the world. Joking. But, not only that, but we got to face it, Nissan Stadium was built, in 1999, and it was built not with the latest technology, but it was kind of like in the middle of us transitioning. Because if y'all would look back, we built our stadium right as we were transitioning from one style of construction into a whole new other style. And we built, I feel like if we would have waited maybe another year, another 2 years to actually build it or even design it, we could maybe be singing a little different tone about it, but I just feel like this is going to be so huge for the city of Nashville, and I'm really excited. Gonna have to start saving up so I can get me a ticket.
Is it still gonna be called Nissan Stadium? Do we know that if it's gonna be a different name? Because Nissan Stadium was Adelphia Coliseum and all that stuff. So is it gonna have a different name, or is it still gonna be Nissan Stadium? Do we know?
So I personally do not know for 100% sure. I want to say I maybe read a couple articles, and I could be wrong on this, so I'm not 100% sure. So do not hold me to this, but I think there's a slight chance that it will still be called Nissan Stadium. Mason, what is your thoughts on everything that we've been talking about?
About like the all the events. I mean, that's just gonna be really cool to see, because like you were saying about the grass, I mean, even during the Titans games you could see how messed up it can be. And there's gonna be the new turf. Aren't they doing the same turf that they're adding this year for the new stadium, or is that gonna be different?
Yeah, so they have, and it's not like 100% artificial turf. It's like a new hybrid type of turf, and it is already in place at Nissan Stadium right now, and it actually looks really, really good in my opinion. But that is going to be the same type of turf that will be put into the new stadium. And I'd say about the only person that would affect is Derrick Henry, but then again, it's not the turf that he got hurt on, artificial turf that he got hurt on. It's a new hybrid type. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out, throughout this regular season. And then who knows, if it don't end up going good, maybe they're just using this as a trial run at Nissan Stadium. And, if it don't go good, they, who knows, they might, kind of change their mind. But I think the whole idea with that is that would save Titans so much money, and it would allow for, a quick pickup and, put down, we'll have a concrete, basing or footing underneath it. So, and likes of a concert or something like that, it'd be just a really easy, quick transition from turf to, concrete. So it'd definitely be interesting to see. Does anybody have any other thoughts on that real quick before we excuse me, before we move on here? All right, so let's go ahead and keep this thing rolling here. So we were alluding to the unofficial depth chart, earlier, and I'm gonna start with April on this. April, what is one thing that you kind of notice on the unofficial depth chart that wanted you that kind of caught your eye and made you think, if this is the way we go, this could be interesting, or something to that effect.
Well, for one thing, they have Ryan Tannehill on special teams as well.
Hey, yeah, they sure do. And that's as a backup punt holder, or
Yeah.
which I think is logical, especially if they go to keep three quarterbacks. But surely you would take one of those three quarterback or two other quarterbacks and put them out there. But I mean,
Right. It's just the whole. It's unofficial for a reason, but it is interesting to see what they have and what spaces already. So it'll be interesting to see if our official one looks anything similar to the way this one looks. And I would like to see some names on there, move up a little bit, like Mason Kinsey. I feel like he has earned a top spot, or a spot at least on the 53-man roster. They elevated him twice last year. They used him to as much as they could, and he was the very first one that they ended up signing. One of the very first ones they ended up signing as soon as the season ended, because they did not want Mason to go anywhere. And I feel like they knew then that Mason was special, and he was going to kind of grow into be a spot on the 53-man roster. And so I really want to see how Mason does. It looks like he's improving. I can see some of the tape. And not to mention, guys, Mason's just a really good guy. I have his mom on social media, and she's down to earth too. She's great. She tunes into the Tighten Up Network. And so it's really exciting to see, people like that and just see how they do. I've always been a fan of Mason, though, and so I kind of want to see. I hope that he earns a spot on a 53-man roster. But that's the main one that stuck out to me, is I'm surprised that he isn't already up there. I know that we're kind of like with wide receivers, we're kind of stacked right now, but I hope that he earns it. I know that he probably will on special teams. That's where we elevated him twice last year. So I hope that he kind of sticks there and then he gets to be on the 53-man roster in special teams.
Yeah. So, I just realized, guys, that I kind of skipped talking the special teams on accident. So, since we're already talking and alluding on the special teams, let's go ahead and break down our special teams. I want to talk about, possible punt returner. I know a lot of people is throwing out Kyle Phillips. But me personally, I feel like we need to keep Kyle Phillips, strictly on the offense, to see, what he's able to produce for us, in the line, in the turn, produce for us, in the slot position, without overwhelming him with, special teams and stuff as well. Give the man a chance to stay healthy, and let's see what he can do for us on the offense throughout the season. And, and then if need be, move him to the special teams as a, punt returner. But, a name that I kind of been talking about lately at punt returner is Tyjae Spears. And Mason, what is your thoughts? Would you like to see Tyjae Spears at punt returner?
Well, yes, so I would think that would be great because we've seen him in college that he can catch pretty well. So he already, as long as he can catch it, he can bring that speed and he can break a few tackles, and I think that could be really, really good.
Yeah, and I really feel like Spears has a lot to offer. The Titans this year. Not only on offense, but possibly as well on special teams. I know he's not listed on special teams, but that would be, or at least I don't think he is. I'll have to double check on that. But that'd be something very interesting to kind of see. Let's see. No, he is listed. He is behind Mason Kinsey and Hashan Haskins on kickoff return and punt return. So, April, you were just talking about Mason Kinsey, I feel like this could be a really breakout year for Mason Kinsey. I feel like he has a lot of potential, but also has a lot of room for growth. And I think that, as long as that he keeps hitting his strides, I think that this could be a really big breakout year for him. I'm really curious, with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins and the growth from Traylon Burks, to see what, he's able to do in that slot, because that's going to take a lot of kind of like, pressure off of all the other targets, like Chig and Kinsey or Phillips or, any of those additional targets. So it's going to be something really interesting to see. But, also the thought of having him out there, during kickoff return and punt returns, that is very curious to me. And I'm really excited to see, how that plays out because, I feel like Kinsey has a lot of speed, in him and with him. So, April, what is your thoughts on Kinsey? If you want to elaborate a little more on him being, on special teams, what is your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, so Mason was elevated 2 times on special teams last year, and we used him as much as possible, and he did an excellent job for the Titans, and I think that's one of the reasons why they kept him in the position that he's in. And I feel like he's developing really, really well. I know that it's his main goal to be a, wide receiver. And he also reminds me a whole lot of Drew Bennett and the way Drew Bennett played. And Drew Bennett was one of our best receivers.
Yeah, and, according to the unofficial depth chart, we'll have Kyle Phillips as our starting punt returner and Julius Chestnut as our starting kick return. So, we already kind of alluded to Kyle Phillips. Mason, what are your thoughts about Julius Chestnut, being a kickoff return?
I definitely think that would be a good move for us to use him as. Because, like how you're talking about Mason Kinsey, that he has that sort of speed, and he could juke around all the other people and stuff like that. I think running backs as a kick returner can be just really well if used right. I think if he's used right, he can be really good with that.
Definitely. I definitely agree with you 100% there. And then, of course, Hashawn Haskins is mentioned on here in the special teams as a backup to Julius Chestnut. But considering, Hashawn Haskins and his legal allegations that are going on right now, who knows if we'll actually, see him out there on the field. But, what are your thoughts on Hashawn Haskins, April? And do you think that, he'll have a opportunity to, get out there and show any sort of improvements this season?
Hope that
So we are technically experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties with her mic. She's coming in really choppy, so see if she can kind of readjust there, and we'll give her another opportunity to answer that. So April, you want to try it again since your camera's off? See if maybe you're coming in better now.
Yeah. My phone is actually going dead, so I had to pick one. Apple, you have to either charge or do headphones. But I did want to say that, you certainly hope that he gets the opportunity. You never want to see somebody's opportunity taken away. You definitely want justice, but you definitely don't want to see an opportunity taken away. But I do believe that Tyjae Spears is going to come up and take that number 2 spot, and we may see Haskins more of a special teams role if and when he gets to play.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a really interesting thing to kind of keep our eye on as the regular season approaches here for the Tennessee Titans. My guess would be that he'll probably be, back up to Chestnut and, on special teams. But they also have him listed as backup behind, Derrick Henry as RB2. Now that I don't see happening. I actually see, Tajay Spears taking the number 2, and then Julius Chestnut coming up right behind Spears. For that, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm not a coach, so that's just my thoughts and opinions on it. But so let's talk about punters and kickers real quick. So Ryan Stonehouse is returning for the Tennessee Titans as a punter. April, do you think that Ryan Stonehouse is a good punter for the Titans, and do you think we'll see something new out of him this year?
So I love seeing him, kind of step up and take that role and do really well with it last year. We've been blessed in the sense of punters. So, we had Craig Hendricks, and, we've had him for many, 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 many years. And so, it was refreshing but different to see a new face out there. And I think that Stonehouse, he's done a really great job stepping up to the plate. He had big shoes to fill, and I feel like he did it very gracefully. So I think he's going to be great. I'm not sure how much more we could see out of him. He did an amazing job last year. So I think that he'll definitely keep it up.
Yeah. All right. And Mason, for a kicker, we have Caleb Sudak. And what are your thoughts on him? And do you think that he will be able to fill the high expectations set on him through the Titans fan base?
I think I saw him able to kick a couple of 50-yarders. So seeing that is already a great sign to see. He did miss, I think it was a 46-yard, but I think he's been making more than missing, and you always love to see that. So I really do think the expectations are not super, super high, but we just need to make extra points. That's really what we need. That's what a struggle that we've had is extra points. If we can get that fixed, then we should be doing great.
Yeah, and then the backup to Caleb would be Trey Wolff. So, April, what is your thoughts on Trey Wolff?
I haven't really gotten. So that.
And we're experiencing a little bit of technical difficulties again on her end, so we do apologize. She will get that fixed real quick, and in the meantime, we'll go ahead and let Mason answer that, and then we'll try and throw it back to April.
Well, it's really interesting. In practice, they're looking around the same type of skill level, so it's very interesting the battle they have between them. It's like they're both making some, they're both missing some around the same type of yards, and it's just it's hard to know who's going to be the starter, and that's what I think is a battle in preseason that not many people are talking about. Who's going to be the starting kicker, and who's going to start in the preseason? Who do they think might be better in the preseason? That's definitely going to be interesting to see.
Yes, it definitely is, and I think April was kind of alluding to, or trying to allude to, but she was going in and out really bad. But I think she was trying to allude to, just not knowing enough about Trey Wolff yet, or seeing enough of him to really kind of say yay or nay. And I'm kind of in the same boat with her. I'd have to, if that's what she was saying, I'd have to agree on that. It's still a little too soon to say, whether. I think he's going to be a good backup or compete for the starting kicker job. But I do feel like this is definitely something that Titans need to address and find a way of getting fixed. Like you said, Mason, is Titans have to be able to go up and put up points, and if we're not able to put up any points like on special teams, then we could end up in a tough situation, and with the offensive line kind of still up in question, again this year, we have to kind of sit there and assume, okay, well, we're going to need to make these 53, 54 50-yard field goals, in order to keep points on the board. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see, and it sounds like we actually have April back. So, April, what were you trying to allude to there?
No, you were completely right. I just haven't seen enough of the kicking game to know, have an opinion on it really and be fair. So it's definitely gonna be something I'm gonna be sitting down and taking notes about during the preseason game, just to kind of see, where we are in that kicking game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something that's really going to catch my attention. Well, it's going to be one thing that I'm really focused on in the preseason game. So I'm going to kind of talk about this as three things that I'm really going to be paying attention to. And I'll go ahead and up it to 4 things that I'm really going to be paying attention to and taking notes on in tomorrow's game. And the first is going to be, the kicks. Are we able to make those kicks from 50, 54, etc.? I'm going to be watching the offensive line because, if you go back to, our preseason videos from last year, we watched, I did a live commentary of the first preseason game. And I called it live on air, and I said that if we go into the season with this offensive line playing like this, then, Tannehill was going to get hurt. We would end up seeing Malik Willis, and our season was going down a drain. And that's a PG way of saying that. So, so the first thing is going to be the kicker. Second thing is going to be the offensive line. And then the third thing for me is going to be the battle for backup quarterback, because I'm really excited to see the growth from Malik Willis that everybody's been talking about. I want to see that translate onto the field in a live game situation. But then I also want to see Will Levis out there. I want to see what he's capable of. I want to see, the things that, he might be able to bring to the Titans team. So that's going to be really, really interesting to see it. And then the final thing for me is our backup wide receivers. So I know, like, in practice when DeAndre Hopkins hasn't been there, our receiver core has struggled. They would tip passes, which we've seen a lot of last year. Because let's I'll put it out there, Malik Willis was very accurate last year when he was able to throw the ball, but half the time the balls either got dropped or they were tipped up in the air. And so, is that going to be something we see when D-Hop isn't out there playing? So that's going to be something that I really want to kind of pay attention to and see how that, transpires. So guys, with all that being said, we covered all of our topics for today. I'm going to, before we go into our final 2 parts here, we got 2 segments left. We covered all of our main topics. So, real quick, guys, is there anything y'all want to talk about that, we've alluded to? If so, take the floor.
I would just like to say, I don't know if I'm reading it right, but it looks like Caleb Farley was put on the third string cornerbacks. Like, I think he might have been taken off the injury list looking at the unofficial depth chart.
He is still on PUP, but they have to put him on the depth chart regardless, if he's going to be on the 53-man roster. So that's why we see him there. And if you see, it's in quotes or it's in a little thingamajig. So, that's wise because he's on PUP. April, how about you? Is there anything you want to kind of allude to before we go into our next thing here?
No, I think we're good. I think we've covered everything for me.
All right, so guys, real quick, we're about to introduce a new segment to y'all, and this segment is called Titans Court. And so basically, what Titans Court, we changed the name up. You might, if you were watching last week, you would have heard us talking about Debate Table. We changed the name from Debate Table to Titans Court. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the national media, we're going to hold them accountable, and we're going to take them to Titans Court. So we're going to play a quick video. We're going to let y'all watch that video, and then we're going to take them to court, and we're going to give our arguments against this video. So with that being said, we're going to go into the video real quick.
Very interesting season for the Tennessee Titans. You got your quarterback of the future, but what does that mean for right now? Now, we expect Tannehill to be the opening quarterback as they lose their first 2 games, but they will get a win against the Cleveland Browns. But as I look at this other schedule leading up to the bye, and of course a game in London, I see a number of losses right here. When I look at this schedule right here, I think that this could be the point that we start to see Will Levis as they start to play for the future. So right now, when you're starting to take these losses, take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, saying, look, we're trying to get a look at our quarterback, see what we have. A couple of losses in here before getting the win against the Indianapolis Colts. You got a game against the Miami Dolphins, but we'll sneak a win in here, and then you close off the season with a couple of losses. Get an opportunity. The Jags, nothing to play for in Week 18, having already wrapped up the AFC South. Now, I know it looks a little dour, and a couple of years ago, I picked you guys to go 3-13. You all ended up 9-7 and went to the AFC Championship game. But if Will Levis comes out and is the quarterback that you expect him to be, that will be the most important thing. But for right now, I got 4 wins.
And so there you have it, guys. That was Adam Doofusface from the NFL Network, giving us a 4-13 record prediction for this season. And, his arguments were along the lines of we have no depth on defense. On top of that, he feels like Tannehill is going to have a off year, and then one of the backups is going to have to come in midseason and take over. And, we're just this really crappy, poor team, and, the whole shindig. So we're going to open the courtroom real quick, and we're going to allow April to give her first defense for the Tennessee Titans.
Well, the first defense is I don't think he's watched a single Titan game because defense has plenty of depth. We are stacked as far as defense goes. Of course, we talked over the defense earlier. We have, our front four, then we have the 4 behind the front 4 and the 4 behind that. No, I'm just kidding. But we do have our, we've addressed our safety issues. We have addressed our corner issues. So I feel like that argument is kind of off the table. Also, he talks about how he thinks Tannehill is going to go down. Just going off fact, if we want to beat them with facts, here's the facts, right? We're going to court. We got to have our proof. We got to have our facts. There is no evidence whatsoever watching camp that Tannehill is going to have a bad year. There's no evidence of it having a bad year. Actually, we have evidence of he is looking healthier, he is looking faster, he is looking more accurate. So we have more evidence that he is going to have a better year than last year than we do of him having a bad year. I don't think that he has watched anything coming out of Tennessee at all. He's not the first. Adam Rank is not the first. He's not the only. We had fans talking about, not our fans, but fans of other teams talking about when DeAndre Hopkins came. They didn't understand why DeAndre Hopkins came to Tennessee when he wanted a steady coach. Hello. We have one of the only steady coaches in the NFL. We have Patrick Mahomes, who praises our coach for being a steady coach. Like, you can tell they have no idea what goes on inside of Tennessee other than what they've heard or what they're assuming may happen. So none of anything he has is fact. Everything I just gave you is straight fact. Therefore, court is adjourned.
So, that was April's defense for the Titans. And, real quick, Mason, do you have anything you want to defend the Titans on this? Do you have a defense, that you want to state for the court here?
Well, they take the one season that we lose the division by 1 year, and then they give us half the wins of what we had last year. It just makes no sense, and they give the Jaguars, who had the #1 seed for 2 years in a row, they think they're going to have 10 wins. And it makes no sense how they could say that after talking so bad about all these other teams. Now they have one good season. Now they're going to win the division every year. And
yeah, I definitely agree. Real quick, want to give a shout out to the Bryson Haley show. Bryce commented on our show, and he's saying he don't see it at all. And and here's the thing: Jason McCourty alluded to this, and I want to say it was on maybe the Blaine Bishop show or something to that effect. But he sat there and it's really obvious that none of these people watch any of the Titans games from last year or the year prior. Because both years we ended up having no depth on offense or defense because we were the most injured team in the NFL. 2 years ago, we about broke the record, and then, or we did break the record, and then last year we about broke our own record. And so, with that being said, we still managed to start the season, at 7-3, and then we did finish 7-10. But when you take a deep dive and a deep look at our games last year, there were 4 games that we just had no chance of winning. The Bills, the Cowboys, one Jaguar game, and there's another game, and it just kind of blew on my head. The Cowboys game, But if you take those 4 games, and you say, okay, those are for sure losses, and then you compare that to every single other game. Every single other game was literally a 1-possession game. We were literally a kickoff and an extra point, or a touchdown and an extra point away from being in the playoffs last year with Josh Dobbs as our backup quarterback. It's just it's crazy, and this really goes to show the disrespect that the national media has on the Titans. But not only that, I feel like you're really, like April alluded to, you're really disrespecting Mike Vrabel. Because Mike Vrabel has done a lot more with a lot less, and still has got us win after win after win. But to sit there and say 4-13 under Mike Vrabel, I think is outlandish. It's wrong. It's one of the worst takes I've seen on national media about the Titans. The year that Adam Stankface called us to be 3-13, we ended up going all the way to the AFC Championship. So and he kind of alluded to that in the video. So it's really crazy. It's outlandish. I think that his points and merits that he make has no backing or no standing behind him. So do we all agree on that? So,
yeah, we definitely agree. There's no facts.
So there you go. Court is adjourned. Titans win that case. We will not be 4-13. Knock on wood. All right, so real quick, in the comments here, it's not allowing me to pull these comments up for some reason, but Bryce said he has a question for us. So Bryce, if you want to go ahead and type away, we'll answer your question. And while you do that, guys, we're going to go into our last segment here. So we had Noah on a phone call earlier, and we asked Noah for his preseason game predictions. So we're going to kind of hear what he has to say on that real quick. And then, we're going to get back on here. We'll hear what Bryce's question is. So Bryce, if you want to go ahead and ask us that question in the comments, we'll answer that, and then we'll also answer our preseason predictions. All right, everybody, let's welcome in through via phone call our co-host Noah Searcy. Noah, real quick, we want to get your preseason game 1 predictions. So what is your prediction for preseason game 1 against the Bears on Saturday?
Okay, so since I've seen the recent records from the Bears, I believe that we're going to have at least 4 touchdowns or more in this preseason game and stay ahead. If we don't, I still think we're going to stay ahead by at least a touchdown.
Okay, so you think this will be a high-scoring game. Let me ask you this. Is there anybody you want to highlight, in the first preseason game as maybe somebody you really excited to see or keep your eyes on?
I want to highlight Malik Willis to see if he would win the backup quarterback position and just see his potential.
All right. And then last thing, Noah, is there anybody you feel like needs to have a breakout performance in tomorrow night's game or tomorrow afternoon's game?
I think it would have to be Christian Fulton because from what I've seen, he still has a lot to prove.
Yeah, so Christian Fulton struggled a lot last year, was injured off and on, so, he does have a lot to prove, and I think that, getting him some more reps during the preseason games might be a good idea. So we'll have to see how tomorrow plays out. I'm also really excited to see what Malik Willis can do as well. So Noah, I just want to take the time to thank you for joining us via phone call for tonight's episode. And for everybody out there who normally watches our What's Shaking Titans podcast, you know that we normally have Noah on the show with us and video and all that. However, we're working through some technical issues, so we will have to get him back on very soon. But Noah, once again, we want to take the time just to thank you for coming on and being a part of the show. All right, guys. So there you have it. Noah sat there and said that he believes this is going to be a really high-scoring game. He believes it's going to be a one possession game. 2 possession at most. His comments were very interesting. I've always loved to hear his thoughts and takes on it. He also said that, he's really excited to see Malik Willis and the growth from him. And then he says that the one player that, has the most to prove in this preseason game, he feels would be Christian Fulton. So with that being said, we're going to break this down really fast. We're going to get everybody's prediction. We're going to go score prediction. We're going to go... score prediction. We're gonna go. Who do you believe will prove themselves in the preseason game, and then we'll also go to predicting which quarterback do you think will have a better outing. So we'll start with April. April, what is your takes on this first preseason game, and what are your predictions?
I don't have high hopes, which I shouldn't. I'm hoping that if we learn anything, they learn where their weaknesses are. I say it's going to be 28-21 Chicago, just because they may have, a better, 15th line after we get to the end of the game. Isn't that where we are? We're playing practice squad against high schoolers. But, maybe... I feel like the person with the most to prove during this playoff game is going to be Malik. I think he's going to have a sour taste in his mouth. I think he's been kind of watching what everybody's saying about him. Not that he cares or don't care, but I think he's going to want to try to, show his improvement and show, why he deserves to be number 2. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And real quick, Mason's question was, what is the score this week? And so you said 28-21, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so 28-21 Chicago. Mason says 24-14. Who do you got winning that, though? Not Mason, I'm sorry, Bryce. Who do you have? You have Titans over Bears or Bears over Titans? And while we wait for that, Mason, what is your score predictions, and who do you think has the most to prove? As well as who do you think will end up having the best outing in the preseason?
Well, before I learned that the Bears were playing all their starters, I was gonna say 28-3, but now I'm gonna say 28-10 Titans. So give them a little touchdown because they're playing their starters. Bears are another team like the Titans that do not have a great offensive line, and I think the defense are gonna show up and just absolutely destroy the Bears on that side on the field, and it's gonna be great seeing whoever we decide to play. I think, like how you said, we have a lot of depth there, so I think whoever we play are going to get past there and hopefully get around 25 sacks this game.
Yeah. Real quick, I love you, Bryce. Shout out to Bryce Pratt, from the Bryce and Haley show. He said Titans, of course, LOL. So yeah, and then Mason, you alluded to the Bears also not having a solid offensive line as well. They kind of mirror the Titans in that facet. So I kind of agree with you there. I think this is going to be a really defense heavy game, and especially once we get past the second quarter of the game. because I feel like our Titans defense was always solid, especially under a defensive former defense player as our head coach and Mike Vrabel. I think he's going to have this defense in top shape, even though Terrell Williams is going to be the acting head coach for the game. I think our defense is still going to come out and show out. So my game score prediction is 17-14 Tennessee Titans. I'm going low. I think all of our points are going to come in the first half. If we have Malik Willis out there, I really feel like that's when all of our points are going to come into play. I feel like he'll be able to drive the offense, up and down the field, showing us that improvement, showing us, everything that we've seen, through the highlight clips from the Tennessee Titans and heard from Mike Vrabel and outside sources as well. So I think it's going to be a real solid first half for the Titans, and then I think the defense is going to stand strong in the second half. Regardless of third string, fourth string, fifth string, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the one player I feel like has the most to prove is actually Malik Willis as well. So I think we all three had the same person. I feel like Malik Willis is going to have to come out there and show the Titans fans, what he's about and the growth that he has. But I also want to include an honorable mention here, and that's Tajay Spears. I feel like Tajay Spears has a lot to come out and show the Tennessee Titans fan base, because there's been a lot of questions surrounding him with the ACL tear and all that. So, I feel like just kind of having him kind of go out there and answer those questions and show us what he's all about is going to be really important. And as far as, our defense goes, hopefully we'll see our secondary, our starter secondary out there, Kevin Byard, Sean Murphy Bunting, and Christian Fulton. I would love to see how they're gelling as a unit, and see if they're able to prevent a pass passes over our heads and stuff. With the Bears starting the majority of their starters, I do believe there's a big chance that we might actually get to see that. So I'm really excited for that. Look at April shaking her head. But I'm really excited to see that, for sure. I think this preseason game, it's just the first preseason game. There's going to be a lot of improvement from the first game to the second game. There always is. There's always a jump. There's always growth. So, with that being said, we just have to know what we see is not the final product, and what we see is also, most likely not the majority of our starters. So, I don't think it's going to be a really high-scoring game. I think this is going to be a defensive game, between both teams. And, once we get outside of, some of our main players in the first half and the second half, or first half and the first quarter, second quarter, and the first half, I'll get it out. Sorry. But yeah, once we get past that, I think it's just going to be kind of one of them just slow back and forth, no one putting up points, but that's just my opinion. So, guys, that's all we have for y'all today. Real quick before I get us out of here, is there anything else y'all want to say?
Tighten up.
Tighten up. Mason, you got anything?
I'm excited to see the win. That's what I'm excited for.
Yes, let's go. This is going to be awesome to see the boys in two-tone blue back on the field. All right, guys, so with all that being said, we want to take the time just to thank everybody for tuning in to What's Shaking Titans. As always, if you're not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take the time to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give us a big old like. That will help us out with the YouTube algorithm. That way more people get to see our video. It will pop up more often. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Spotify. If you're on Facebook watching this at a later time, definitely share us out to all your groups. Share us to your friends and your private messages. Sharing sharing is caring, and the more you share us out, the more we get to grow. If you're watching us on Spotify, give us a big like, give us some rating, give us a star. If you follow us on Twitter, definitely comment in the comments on our posts. We definitely appreciate it. We love to hear back from you guys. With all that being said, guys, we love y'all. We thank y'all for taking the time to tune in to What's Shaking Titans. And we hope and pray that everybody has a blessed and highly favored day. We're going to get into a couple real quick promos of what's coming up for What's Shaking Titans next week. So once we do that, we'll get y'all out of here. So everybody, thank you for tuning in and have a blessed day again. This episode of What's Shaking Titans was brought to you by Bailey's Barbecue, Smoking Good Barbecue. Check them out on Facebook and Twitter.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.